Imagine climbing 4,000 rusted steps, clinging to a steep mountain with no railings to save you, or walking across a few wooden planks nailed to a cliff where one wrong move means falling thousands of feet. What about hiking up a volcano that can erupt without warning? Or gripping onto slippery steel cables during a sudden thunderstorm where lightning could strike the very rock you're clinging to? These aren't scenes from a movie. They are real hikes that people attempt every year, and not all of them make it back. Today, we will show you 12 of the deadliest hikes in the world, where survivors don't just tell stories, they tell you to stay away. Let's dive in. Mount Huashan, China. At 7,070 feet above sea level, Mount Huashan's plank walk in Shanxi Province, China, is often called the most dangerous hike in the whole world. It usually takes around 4 to 6 hours to complete depending on the route you choose. This is not a normal trail. You can walk on thin wooden planks nailed into the side of a vertical cliff. In many places, there are no railings, and the harnesses they offer feel almost useless against the force of the mountain winds. Even locals admit that accidents happen but are quietly covered up to keep tourism alive. Viral videos like this one only show calm days. When rain, snow, or fog rolls in, surviving the walk becomes almost impossible. The trail is open year-round, but many seasoned climbers advise staying away during winter or after heavy rainstorms, when the planks turn into a deadly ice rink. Mount Hua Plank Walk, China. Sharing the same deadly mountain as the previous trail, the Mount Hua Plank Walk adds even more terror. This section forces hikers to cling to ancient iron pegs hammered into the rock, while stepping across shaky, weathered wooden planks. Some areas have no planks at all, only metal footholds and your own courage. It usually takes 5 to 7 hours to hike this side of the mountain, depending on the chosen path. Survivors often describe the sickening feeling of leaning over thousands of feet of open air with nothing under their body but empty space. Although the route is officially open year-round, it's extremely dangerous during snowfalls or heavy mists, when visibility drops and the winds slam into you without warning. One survivor wrote, "I made the mistake of thinking it was just a scary hike. It's not. It's survival." Half Dome Cables Route, Yosemite, USA. Rising to 8,839 feet inside Yosemite National Park, Half Dome is one of America's most iconic but deadliest hikes. The full trail stretches about 14 to 16 miles round trip and takes roughly 10 to 14 hours to complete. The final section involves pulling yourself up a nearly vertical granite face using only 2 steel cables. When the rock is dry, it's already terrifying. When it's wet from rain or even morning dew, it turns into pure ice. Fatal falls have happened, with one of the most tragic in 2011, when a hiker lost her footing during wet conditions and fell hundreds of feet to her death. Even worse, sudden thunderstorms can turn the cables into deadly lightning conductors. Half Dome is open roughly from late May to early October, depending on weather. But even with limited permits issued daily, park rangers repeatedly warn, if you see clouds gathering, forget your pride, turn around. Pakaya Volcano Trail, Guatemala. The Pakaya volcano near Antigua stands at 8,373 feet and offers one of the most deceptive hikes you'll ever see. It takes about 2 to 4 hours round trip to reach the lava fields, but every minute feels like gambling with nature. Pakaya is an active volcano, not dormant, not sleeping. And eruptions can happen without warning. Hikers walk across dried lava fields where the crust beneath them sometimes feels hot and fragile. In 2010, Pakaya erupted violently, burying entire villages in ash and forcing thousands to flee. Today, while the trail remains open year-round, local guides constantly monitor volcanic activity and may call off tours last minute if they sense danger. Survivors often describe the eerie sensation of walking on land that feels alive, with sudden bursts of heat rising from cracks in the ground. One visitor summed it up best: "It's not a hike, it's a risk you feel under your skin." The Haiku Stairs, Hawaii. Right above Oahu's lush green valleys, the Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven, stretch like a broken spine up the mountain. Built during World War II to access a military radio station, the trail features 3,922 steps bolted into the steep mountainside. Some parts are so vertical that you're practically climbing a ladder, not hiking. The entire climb takes around 3 to 5 hours depending on fitness and weather, but it's illegal. Officially closed since the 1980s due to serious safety concerns. Many sections of the stairs are rusted, broken, or missing entirely, and strong gusts of wind can easily knock a climber off balance. Without railings in many places, it's just you and gravity. Locals often warn about injuries and helicopter rescues happening almost every month. Despite its beauty, one survivor put it best: "The view is breathtaking, but if you lose focus for 1 second, so is the fall." The Maze Overlook, Canyonlands, USA. Deep inside Utah's Canyonlands National Park lies the Maze. A twisted, nightmarish network of canyons so confusing even park rangers avoid entering without backup. Reaching the Maze Overlook usually takes at least 6 to 10 hours of rough 4x4 driving, followed by several more hours of hiking across loose rocks and steep cliffs. The area is brutally remote. No cell service, no water, no real trails, and temperatures that swing widely between freezing nights and burning days. Getting lost here is almost expected. Survivors often describe it as a giant trap where GPS devices are useless because of the rock walls. One exhausted hiker famously said, "The rocks laugh at your GPS. If you take a wrong turn or twist an ankle here, rescue could take days, or might not come at all." Even experienced desert hikers call it one of the most terrifying places you can ever step into. Huayna Picchu, Peru. Towering behind the ancient city of Machu Picchu is Huayna Picchu, the iconic Sugarloaf Mountain seen in most famous photos. Climbing it might only take about 2 to 3 hours round trip, but it's not for the faint-hearted. Rising to 8,835 feet, the trail is a deadly combination of steep stone steps, narrow ledges, and slippery rocks covered in jungle mist. Many sections have no handrails, and the path climbs almost vertically near the summit. Heavy rains turn the steps into slick death traps. Only 400 permits are issued per day because of how dangerous the trail is. And even then, authorities constantly warn visitors about sudden rockfalls and heart attacks triggered by the high altitude. Survivors often describe the horrifying moment when the clouds roll in and the world below simply vanishes into white nothingness. One missed step and you're gone forever into the jungle abyss. Drensburg Traverse, South Africa. In the wild mountains of South Africa, the Drensburg Traverse stretches across a landscape so rugged and isolated that even professional hikers sometimes never come back. This brutal hike covers over 140 miles and can take up to 12 days to complete. The route starts with climbing up chain ladders bolted into sheer cliffs, hundreds of feet above sharp rocks. Once on top, hikers face freezing winds, sudden thunderstorms, and endless, confusing plateaus, where getting lost is terrifyingly easy. The cliffs have vertical drops so high they vanish into the clouds. Rescue is almost impossible because helicopters struggle to navigate the rough air currents here. Every year, hikers vanish or are found days later suffering from exposure and injuries. Those who survive warn that the Drensburg isn't just a tough hike. It's a place where nature simply doesn't care if you make it out or not. Angel's Landing, Zion National Park, USA. Angel's Landing in Utah's Zion National Park is one of the most popular hikes in America and one of the most deadly. Rising to 5,790 feet, the trail only takes about 4 to 6 hours to complete. But it's the final half mile that earns it a deadly reputation. The narrow rock ridge has sheer 1,000-foot drop-offs on both sides and just a few rusty chains to cling onto. Strong gusts of wind, loose gravel, and heavy crowds make this final climb incredibly dangerous. More than 15 people have fallen to their deaths here since 2000, and every year, rangers remind hikers that one mistake could be fatal. Angel's Landing is open year-round, but during winter, ice forms along the ridge, turning an already terrifying climb into a suicidal one. Survivors often say the same thing. It's not the climb up that kills you. It's the false confidence coming down. Kakum Canopy. Walk Ghana. High above the treetops of Ghana's Kakum National Park stretches the Kakum Canopy Walk, a series of suspended rope bridges swaying 130 feet above the rainforest floor. It might look like a fun tourist attraction at first, but the reality is different. The walk itself only takes about 30 to 40 minutes to cross, but what makes it deadly is the fact that the narrow wooden planks are just wide enough for 1 foot. And the ropes, while sturdy, don't prevent serious falls if you slip. Heavy rain turns the planks into slick, wobbling hazards, and strong winds have even ripped sections of the walkway in the past. Although it's open year-round, the rainy season from April to June brings extra danger with flooding, slipperiness, and storm-blown trees crashing onto the canopy path. Guides are trained to warn tourists, but one survivor put it best. It's not the height that scares you. It's how thin the line between fun and disaster really is. Devil's Path, Catskills, New York, USA. The Devil's Path in New York's Catskill Mountains is often called the hardest day hike on the East Coast. It stretches 24 miles across 6 peaks, filled with steep rock scrambles, crumbling ledges, and relentless elevation changes. Completing it usually takes seasoned hikers 2 to 3 days, but many attempt it in one brutal push. The elevation gain is over 9,000 feet, and what makes the trail so deadly is how quickly weather can change. Thick fog, sudden rain, and icy rocks can trap hikers halfway up a cliff. Even rescue teams struggle to reach people in some of the deeper ravines. During wet or winter conditions, the rocks become dangerously slick and falls are common. Park rangers often find stranded or injured hikers who thought it would just be a tough workout. Survivors say the Devil's Path doesn't just challenge your body, it breaks your spirit if you're not ready. The Vendenstea Via Ferata, Switzerland. High in the Bernese Alps of Switzerland lies the Vendenstea Via Ferata, one of the most terrifying mountain routes in Europe. Unlike normal hiking trails, Via Ferratas involve clipping yourself into iron cables while scaling sheer cliffs. This route rises more than 7,500 feet and takes a brutal 8 to 10 hours to complete. The danger comes from constantly being exposed to vertical rock faces, shifting weather, and falling rocks loosened by melting ice. There are no easy exit points. Once you're halfway up, your only option is to keep going. Even skilled climbers say the thin steel ladders bolted into the cliffs are terrifying when storms roll in suddenly. The Vendenstea area is usually open between June and September, depending on snow conditions. But local alpine guides warn that if clouds start forming above you, you're already too late to turn back safely. One seasoned mountaineer described it simply: "It's not a hike, it's a fight for survival." And that's it for today. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next amazing episode on Snot Real.